While exploring the ruins of the mall, just as we're about to enter the National Archives building, we suddenly pick up the Ranger emergency frequency on our Pip-Boy.
To anyone receiving this message, this is Butcher of the Merc Company, Reilly's Rangers. We're in danger and need help. Ammunition supply is running out, and we've lost a man. We're pinned on the roof of the Statesmen Hotel by super mutants. If assistance is not possible, please attempt to contact Reilly, who's made for Underworld inside the Museum of History. We will continually broadcast as often as we can, but I'm afraid we don't have much time left. Butcher out.
After listening to the broadcast, we begin the quest, Reilly's Rangers. The broadcast told us that Reilly was headed towards the Underworld. Heading on over to the Underworld, we can go through the lobby and then walk to the very back to enter the Chop Shop. The last time we were here, we saw an unconscious woman lying on a bed. This must be Reilly, but if we try to talk with her, we find that she's completely unresponsive.
I'm afraid she's going to be out for a while. She's not well at all. Don't worry, though. I'm sure the rest of Reilly's Rangers will show up soon and take her home.
So, is she your new toy, zombie?
That kind of talk is uncalled for. I was, am, and always will be a doctor of medicine. I don't care if she was a super mutant. I'd still help her. If they hauled your sorry shot-up body into my clinic, I'd try and save you too.
Well, what's wrong with her?
She had multiple lacerations, contusions, broken leg, some internal bleeding, and blunt force trauma. She hasn't been conscious since they brought her in a few days ago. I'd say she tangled with some super mutants and lost. It's a miracle she isn't dead.
Reilly's Rangers?
Oh, you must be new around here. They're a mercenary company that bases itself out of the DC ruins. I'm assuming she's their leader, Reilly. What was left of her armor had her name stenciled on it. She was in a pretty bad way when they found her outside Underworld.
How did she end up in the Chop Shop?
She was just brought in by a few others. They found her bleeding to death at the entrance to the city here. If she'd been out in the tunnels any longer, she'd have been someone's meal by now.
What else can you tell me about Reilly's Rangers?
They're a mercenary group. I've seen them pass through Underworld a few times. I'm not sure what their mission entails, but I suspect that it involves violence. The Rangers have a small headquarters not far from here. Let me program the location into your Pip-Boy.
Is there any way to revive her?
Well, I wouldn't recommend it. She's in some sort of coma. It's dangerous to force someone out of one. There's no telling when she'll come out of it, I'm afraid.
Well, do you mind if I give it a go?
Unless you're an expert at medicine, I wouldn't recommend it. You may end up doing more harm than good. However, I'm all for helping my patients, so if you think you have the ability, be my guest.
Look, I really need to speak with Reilly and to find out what happened to her.
It would be dangerous for me to prematurely awaken her. The sudden shock to her system could provoke any number of complications.
Please, Doc. She obviously needs somebody's help.
I appreciate your sincerity, but I'm afraid it's just too risky.
Oh, gosh, forget it then.
Now there's no call to be rude. I'm just doing my job, which is making sure this young lady suffers no more permanent damage. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have my work to attend to.
Listen to me, Doc. This woman has friends who are in trouble. Our only chance to help them is to talk with Reilly. Please, wake her up now.
Oh, very well. I'll do what I can. I just hope her body can withstand the strain. Humans are so fragile.
With that, Dr. Barrows walks on over and injects Reilly with some sort of medicine. Almost immediately, she swivels around on her bed and hops to her feet.
What? Where am I? What happened? How long have I been out?
Oh, it's been centuries! The planet is a lush green paradise once again.
Huh? What the hell are you talking about? That isn't very funny. If my guys were here, they'd kick your...
What difference does it make?
Well, I don't know actually. Kinda confused.
Don't worry, you haven't been out for very long, fortunately.
Right. Can't remember what I was doing. Wait! Oh shit! My men! My team! What happened to them?
Hey, get a grip, lady.
Look, asshole, I don't know who you are, but no one talks to Reilly that way. Yeah, you heard me. The Reilly of Reilly's Rangers.
Well, I don't think you're in any condition to start making threats.
Look, I just woke up expecting to see the pearly gates. Can you cut me some slack or what?
I don't cut anyone slack. Deal with it.
Nice that you pick on bedridden people. That how you get your jollies? Does it make you feel tough? If you want to hear me out, then shut the hell up. If not, get out of my face.
All right, I'm sorry.
If time wasn't so precious right now, I wouldn't be so on edge either. I need to get help for the rest of the Rangers, and fast.
Hold on just a second. Relax, calm down. You were badly wounded. But who exactly are you?
I'm sorry. The name's Reilly. Yeah, the Reilly, as in Reilly's Rangers.
Reilly's Rangers, huh? I've never heard of you.
You been stuck living in a vault the last decade or something? We're Guns for Hire, the best merc group in the Capital Wasteland. If you need something done in there, you seek us out.
Oh, not the mighty Reilly's Rangers. Ooh, scary.
Laugh it up, kid. It's easy for you to make fun of me now when I'm in this condition. Keep making jokes, and I'll show you what it's like to be in a coma.
Oh, you're for real? My apologies then. I didn't realize who you were.
That's okay, kid. Don't sweat it. The Wasteland's a big place.
Oh, wait a minute. Now that I think about it, I may have heard of you guys. You're the ones who pack some serious firepower, aren't you?
You're pretty sharp, kid. We pack plenty of firepower, but that didn't help us from getting our asses into serious trouble. I didn't expect to make it out of there alive.
Reilly, you look terrible. Maybe I shouldn't have woken you up so quickly. In fact, really, I can't emphasize this enough. You look like total crap.
You got a lot of class, kid. I feel worse than I look. But that doesn't even matter to me. I'm just worried about the rest of the Rangers. I don't even know if they're still alive.
Hey, don't worry. Your team is still alive. I heard their distress signal. That's why I'm here.
They are? Holy shit! Look, either I need to get out there and lend them a hand, or they aren't going to last much longer.
Sorry, that sounds like suicide. But go ahead, be my guest.
I don't know why you bothered to come here and wake me then. I would have been better off sleeping through it.
All right, well, why don't you tell me what's going on and I'll see if I can help. Go ahead and start from the beginning.
We were mapping the Vernon Square part of the downtown ruins and got jumped by a super mutant ambush party. Usually it isn't a problem, but this group was bigger than usual. We fought our way into Our Lady of Hope Hospital, hoping to find cover.
Let me guess. You found more super mutants inside.
You got it. More of the ugly bastards just kept coming. We fought our way to the roof and found a way across to the Statesman Hotel next door. The super mutants seemed driven, like they smelled blood. They kept following us. Once in the hotel, the only way to go was up.
Not a very smart move, if you ask me.
I didn't ask you. Those bastards were everywhere. I don't know what was driving them.
Bad move.
Very bad move, but we had no choice. On the way, we lost Theo, one of my guys. We were unable to get the ammo case off of his body as we were pushed onwards. So, guns almost dry, we hit the roof of the Statesman.
Trapping yourself at the top of a tall tower. Brilliant.
Look, I don't know what your problem is, but I got 3 guys alone out there with an army of super mutants around them. Either help me by listening or get the hell out of my sight. I am not here to be judged by you or anyone else. Now, like I was saying, we had to fight our way up towards the roof of the Statesman.
So what, were you guys gonna get together back to back and make a last stand?
Last stand? Well, we hope not. We figured we'd get up there and get a better signal to radio the Brotherhood of Steel for help. Problem is, help never arrived. Vernon Square is so thick with the super mutants, I don't think they could slip through.
Well, did you try killing the mutants by laying any traps or mines?
Actually, we did lay down a bunch of countermeasures. I don't know how many of them have already gone off, though. When I slipped out with my stealth boy, I think I almost tripped 1 or 2 of them. Damn near didn't make it out of there at all, come to think of it.
So that leaves your men still stuck on the roof. But, wait, how did you get here?
My bad idea, I'm afraid. I had a stealth boy, which allowed me to slip off the roof unnoticed. The plan was to get back to get some help. I was almost at the street when a super mutant jumped me. Damn near ripped my arm off in the process. Last thing I remember was falling into a culvert. Now I'm here. Some rescue attempt, huh?
Look, let's skip all the story and get to the point. What exactly do you need?
So you're that eager to jump in head first, huh? You remind me a lot of some crazy mercs I knew back in the day. They're all dead now because they were stupid. But suit yourself.
Look, I could care less about your stories.
Fine. Since you're all business and obviously don't give a damn about human life, I got a proposal for you. You want to hear it, or are you going to keep flapping your lips?
I don't know. You've been in a coma. Chances are the Rangers are already dead.
No. There is no way my guys are dead. If there's even the slimmest chance of surviving, they'll do it. If you won't go, stop wasting my fucking time and find me someone who will.
Well, if you're so confident, why don't you attempt to rescue? Your leg's broken or something?
Are you completely stupid? I can barely walk right now, let alone climb a skyscraper. If I could even hold a pistol, I would go get my guys right now. I'm using everything I've got just standing here talking to you. Get the point?
All right, well, what exactly did you need from me?
Get the Rangers home. Please. That's all I want. I don't care how you do it.
I don't know, Reilly. This kind of sounds like suicide.
Look, I don't know where else to go. In the shape I'm in, I'll be lucky to get 10 feet.
Well, what's in it for me if I risk my neck for you?
Spoken like a merc. You sound like me when I was just a kid starting out in the business. Okay, hotshot, how about a full suit of Ranger armor? It's the best combat armor in the wasteland. Or if that doesn't do it for you, I'll set you up with a minigun from our armory. Either way, you walk away with something.
I need some time to think about it.
What's to think about? My guys don't have the luxury of time. If you're going to decide soon. Otherwise, I'm offering elsewhere.
Forget it. I may as well just shoot myself in the head and save the trouble.
Wow, you really are an asshole. Fine. I hope their deaths sit well on your conscience.
Well, all right. I'll do it.
Whew. I was holding my breath on that one, I think. I wasn't sure what you were going to say. All I ask is that you hurry. I don't know how much longer they will be able to survive up there. I also recommend you try and find the body of Theo, one of my men. He was carrying our main ammo supply. Here, let me punch the ammo box code and some better directions into your Pip-Boy there.
Can you think of anything that'll help me get there?
We have a headquarters not far from here. If you can make it there, you're welcome to anything you need inside. Just punch in Reilly 0247 at the gate. We have ammo, supplies, you name it.
What can you tell me about Vernon Square?
If I wasn't asking for your help, I'd tell you to stay away. It's thick with super mutants. I don't know why. Butcher, our team medic, has always suspected something's in the area they are looking for or being attracted to. The only place worse I can think of is the mall.
How do I get there from the underworld?
Your best bet is to stay with the metro tunnels. Head north from here to Metro Central. Then look for the tunnels to the DuPont Circle Station. Exit from the DuPont Circle Station into what we call the dry sewers, and eventually you'll wind up in Our Lady of Hope Hospital.
Do you have any other helpful news about the area?
Not much, I'm afraid. Oh, wait. The hospital may have some supplies that will help you. We saw some storerooms on the way to the roof, but didn't have time to raid them.
Tell me more about Reilly's Rangers.
There's 5 of us. Oh, wait. 4 now. I almost forgot about Theo. Poor bastard. Besides myself, of course, we have Brick, our heavy weapons specialist, Butcher, our medic, and Donovan, our tech. All of them have been with me for years. I trust any of them with my life.
How do I know they're still alive?
Before I left, I gave them an order to keep broadcasting for help over their radio. Hopefully, when you get near their location, you'll pick it up.
Where will I find Theo's body?
We lost him on one of the stairwells on the 2nd floor of the Statesmen Hotel. He almost made it, but one of the muties hit us with a frag grenade. Blew him apart. If you can get to his ammo crate, there's a ton of rounds inside. Bring as many as you can to the Rangers.
All right, Reilly. I'm off.
Careful out there.
With that, Reilly plops back down on the bed and falls asleep. It's now up to us to save the 3 stranded members of Reilly's Rangers stuck on the top of the Statesman Hotel. Thankfully, we're at the Undercity. We can stock up on supplies here before we go, and then we can refer to the note that Reilly gave us to navigate to the Statesman. This is what it says. Using the metro tunnels, head north from here to Metro Central. Then look for the tunnels to the DuPont Circle Station. Exit from DuPont Circle Station into the dry sewers and follow to Our Lady of Hope Hospital. Sounds simple, right? Well, prepare for a complicated journey. Thankfully, we start our journey right here outside the Museum of History. The escalators right outside lead down to the museum station. We can use this to get to Metro Central. Now, each of these subway stations are really interesting. They have their own loot, their own bodies, and their own monsters to explore. I could spend hours narrating a video navigating between all of them, showing off all of the great loot, which may be an interesting video to publish someday. But that would seriously bloat this video, and I want to stay focused on Reilly's Rangers, so we're going to skip by a bunch of great loot and stick to the directions. From the top of Museum Station, we go down an escalator and then face north. Going north through the tunnel, we kill raiders until we find a sign on the wall that says Red Line, northbound to Metro Central. The path before us is blocked off. We find a small raider encampment, so to continue forward, we go through the door right next to the sign. This leads us to a room with a large billiard table inside, and the exit is hidden. We have to flip a switch against the western wall, which opens up some doors on the floor. Some feral ghouls come up and attack us, and we find a staircase leading us deeper underground. This leads us to a room with lots of ammunition where we can restock, and following the only exit from this room east, we return to the Red Line subway tunnel. We see lots of graffiti from the Brotherhood of Steel, giving directions to Wastelanders on how to find the mall. The sign on the wall again helpfully points us north towards Metro Central, so we know we're going the right way. After killing some dogs that attack us, we follow it to the very end, where we see that both tubes are blocked with rubble and subway cars. However, if we take the westernmost track, we find a gap that brings us right to Metro Central. The Metro Central station is a hub that connects to many of the tubes going elsewhere in the Capital Wasteland. It's comprised of multiple floors that go off in all sorts of directions, so it's really easy to get turned around here. But the directions say to take the DuPont Circle. To find it, we need to take the escalators all the way to the very bottom, which is going to take us down multiple floors until we find a sign that says northbound to DuPont Station. This is the one we want, so we just take this tube north. After killing more ghouls, we reach the end and find that the tube is completely blocked off with rubble, so instead we need to turn west through a maintenance door. Following along, we find raiders have barricaded themselves against a bunch of feral ghouls, and they immediately open fire. After killing the raiders, we can loot their little room, and then go through a door to the northwest, which leads us down a hallway to a sliding door that takes us to DuPont Circle Station. At last, we finally see something that's in those directions that Reilly gave us. We find ourselves in some sort of maintenance tunnel, and it's booby-trapped. While disarming a tripwire, we hear 2 explosions around the corner, and we see some fragmentation mines. Looks like a raider had forgot that he booby-trapped this corner. He died to his own mines that he laid for feral ghouls. After looting this corner, we can open a utility door against the western wall, which leads us to a cave. At the end of this path, we find a utility pod and scaffolding, which is currently being occupied by a bunch of raiders. After killing the raiders, we can climb the scaffolding to the top of the utility pod, where we find a handy stash of ammunition and plenty of chems. The utility pod leads down some stairs, finally back to the train tracks. This reconnects us to the northbound Red Line towards DuPont Station. Heading north, we find another raider encampment with beds and lots of food and ammunition that we can loot. And then on the eastern side, we find a stairway that leads to a path going all the way upstairs to DuPont Station. We can loot the station, and there's a lot to explore here. There's even a door to a collapsed car tunnel, but this would take us off our path. So instead, we go east out the main gate to exit the station towards DuPont Circle. Now, Reilly's instructions say that once we arrive at DuPont Circle, we need to find the dry sewers, and then we can follow them directly to the Our Lady of Hope Hospital. So we gotta find an entrance to the dry sewers, and you would think that this looks like a sewer grate, but you would be mistaken. DuPont Circle is occupied by a wide array of enemies. We find feral ghouls on the road, and Sharon decided to blow up all the nuclear cars.
Bring it!
We find raiders shooting at us from behind sandbag barricades. The ground surrounding the circle of DuPont Circle is filled with fragmentation mines, so do be careful. There are many different locations we can discover, including DuPont West, DuPont East, and lots of unmarked wrecked buildings. A Cup of Joe, Lady Frumperton's Fashions. DuPont Circle is a maze, so the best way to navigate to the dry sewers is to track the quest objective on our Pip-Boy. This is going to bring us northeast. east. To find the dry sewers, we have to navigate through a bunch of ruined buildings until we find a staircase leading down to a door to hospital maintenance. For some reason, this is called the dry sewers. Once inside the dry sewers, we can go down a hallway where we find a bunch of Talon Company. After killing the Talon Company and going down the stairs, we can disarm some of their traps, go through a sliding door that leads us to a sewer tunnel. Following this all the way to the end, we find Talon Company in the middle of a gunfight with super mutants. Going up the tunnel, we find a lot of hospital equipment that the super mutants had collected. Lots of great stuff to loot here, but to continue forward, we go back down the tunnel, following it east, past some nuclear waste barrels, until we find another gunfight between Talon Company mercs and super mutants. After killing them, continuing east, we go through a sliding door against the northern wall, which brings us up a flight of stairs and through a door to a big storage room filled with super mutants. After killing the super mutants, we finally find a door to Our Lady of Hope Hospital. Remember, we learned from Reilly that you can get to the Statesmen Hotel from the hospital, and she said that there would be good loot here. On the other side of the door, we go up some stairs where we find ourselves in a maintenance room. We can leave the maintenance room by opening the door and entering the primary hallway of this floor of the hospital. We see a few super mutants patrolling. We can dispatch them. This hallway goes in a big circle. To go forward, we have to go upstairs, but this is one of the few quests that brings us to the hospital, so let's explore it for a bit to see what we find. Against the wall, we find a terminal and a safe. The terminal is Nurses Station 2, and we can hack it to read more about what happened here before the bombs dropped. We can unlock the med supplies, which is the nearby wall safe, and we can read a few reports. The first injury report is about a patient named Tom Malone. Poor Tom received an extreme muscle injury to the groin area. The incident occurred at the nearby Statesman Hotel. Tom Malone was in the company of Miss Seneca Clarkson while at the hotel, but he wouldn't disclose exactly what caused the injury. The muscles affected were the gracilis muscle, which connects the lower pelvis through the thigh to the knee, and the adjunctor longus muscle, which also connects the lower pelvis to the inner thigh of the opposite leg. They don't give us any specifics on how this injury occurred, but I don't think it takes a lot of imagination. Treatment? Medicine and physical therapy. The next injury report is about a one Harold Worthington III. He complained about sharp pain in his knees and in his left arm from a fall. This guy again came from the Statesman Hotel. He claimed to have slipped on some water by a faulty ice machine, but after an overnight stay and extensive testing, the hospital staff couldn't find any injuries to treat. Strangely enough, while he was in the hospital, he asked for 8 pillows to help him sleep, and when the room was cleaned the next day after he was discharged, all 8 pillows were gone. Could this have been an elaborate ruse for Harold to steal pillows? Well, people do have strange fetishes these days. The final report is about Richard Maynard Watson. Watson was an employee of Hubris Comics. While he was working, one of the press machines malfunctioned and sprayed hot steam and caustic chemicals right into his face and hands, causing severe burns and nerve damage. This injury was too much for the Our Lady of Hope Hospital to deal with, so he was flown to nearby Hopkins in Baltimore for specialist care. Those are the only 3 injury reports remaining in this hospital 200 years later. Continuing forward, there are many patient rooms in this hallway, filled with minor loot and caps. But the end of the hallway opens up into a big lobby section filled with super mutants. After clearing the super mutants, we can explore. We find a Nuka-Cola machine and an Etotronic in the corner by the stairway that we need to climb to continue with this quest. But going around first to explore the lobby section, we find lots of super mutant gore bags all over the place, and there's a pre-war book on one of the coffee counters. We can bring this back to the Arlington Library for 100 caps. Nearby there are restrooms, but we gotta be careful. I didn't realize until it was too late that the ladies was booby-trapped. But there's absolutely no loot in either bathroom anyway. There's a huge stash of ammunition in the southeast corner of this area. We find clips on top of a cabinet and 3 big ammunition crates on top of a table. Once done exploring the lobby, we head east. Turning left, we see a door. This must have been a hospital reception area. Here we find a booby-trapped terminal, so we'll ignore that one. Next to the booby-trapped terminal is another one that controls the turret system, and on the wall next to it is an easy locked wall safe that was previously hiding behind a painting, which has since rotted away. The door leads us out to Vernon Square. This must have been one of the side entrances to the hospital. Directly in front of it is a big ruined building that's booby-trapped, and it's swarming with super mutants. After killing the mutants, we can go across a sky bridge where we can discover Vernon Square. It gives us a great view of the square, but if we spent too long here, we'd spend all day killing super mutants, and we have a job to do. Turning around, we can see the hospital, and we see that it's connected via some sort of broken scaffolding to the nearby Statesman Hotel, which is our destination. So heading back into the hospital, we can go through the double doors south. Here we find an Etotronic with some mentats inside. This was a snack room, which leads to another reception room. We find some blasted out terminals on some desktops and lots of chairs in this waiting room with skeletons in them next to a big coffee dispenser. Against the eastern wall is another door to Vernon Square. This is the main entrance to the hospital, and directly in front of us is the Statesmen Hotel. Looking up, we see that big wrecked piece of scaffolding, or maybe it was an antenna or something. It's completely crashed into the wall of the Statesman, providing a handy ramp connecting the two buildings. We could get sidetracked exploring this square, but let's stay on task. Turning around, we see a big puddle of blood by the door and a bloody handprint on it. Going back inside, we travel south, where we pass by something I haven't seen before: a booby-trapped baby carriage. What the heck? I'll have to keep an eye out for that in the future. Continuing south, we kill some centaurs that round a corner, and unlocking the door to the left, we can release a peaceful Mr. Handy robot. This guy will attack any enemies that are remaining on this floor, and inside we can loot 4 different first aid kits, which is quite a haul. Turning west down the hallway, we're finishing the loop on this floor. We find plenty more patient rooms with skeletons, first aid kits, and random loot, and one final super mutant on this floor in an operating room. We see stretchers laid out, some of which still have bodies piled on them. And on the wall next to a wall safe is Nurses Station Terminal 1. We can hack this terminal to unlock the nearby wall safe, and it does have injury reports, but sadly they're all the same as the ones we read on Terminal 2. So let's just keep going. This is a great place to get surgical braces if you're looking for them. We find a big stash of them on a wall. Heading out and continuing forward, we find another room to the left. This has a big sign outside that says towards maintenance and surgery. Going through here, this leads us down a stairwell to the very bottom, where we find some fragmentation mines and more ammunition crates. Even some jet. Another great haul. Reilly wasn't kidding when she said that we could restock here. After looting, we can head out, continue along the hallway, and with that, we complete the loop. We find ourselves back towards the door to the maintenance tunnel that led to the dry sewers and Nurses Terminal 02, which means we need to go upstairs. So going back out to the lobby and cafeteria, we turn left to go up some stairs, which leads us to a door to the second level of the hospital. On the other side, we find plenty of containers to loot and a bunch of centaurs. Continuing straight, we find an Etotronic to the right with some mentats inside. And at the very end of this hallway, we see that the stairway is blocked. But we do find Nurses Station Terminal number 3. We can unlock this to open the nearby wall safe, and it has all the same injury reports as the previous 2 terminals. After looting the safe, we can retrace our steps to go through the double doors to the north into the cafeteria. This is filled with super mutants. That last super mutant caught on fire because he was standing right on top of a pipe leaking gas into this room. I'm glad it was him and not me. There's a whole lot of silverware in this room, lots of cups stacked up, but not a lot of useful loot. Opening the door to the east, we find a bunch of gore bags hanging from the ceiling, and a few more super mutants that come through a nearby door. Heading out of this room, we climb some steps until we find a door leading out to Vernon Square. This would have led us to another floor of the hospital, but that entire floor has since been destroyed and is now open to the elements. This is where we find that big scaffolding or antenna bridge to the Statesmen Hotel. After looting an ammunition container and a first aid kit to the south, we can gingerly walk across the precarious bridge. This leads us out to a platform, but we need to drop down to the floor below to access the door that leads to the Statesmen Statesman Hotel. We find ourselves in a dimly lit room and a broken floor directly in front of us. Dropping down, we land right on top of a bed. Exiting this hotel room, we can go down a hallway where we see a super mutant that's already dead. And we find a tripwire. This is clear evidence that Reilly's Rangers has been here. Either they killed these super mutants previously, or the super mutants died to the traps that the Rangers left behind them. After disarming the tripwire, we can disarm the nearby connected fragmentation bouquet and open a door to the nearby room, where of course we find a super mutant. Now this level of the Statesman Hotel is a bit of a maze. The floor has dozens of hotel rooms, each of which has collapsed walls that connect to other rooms, each of which has bathrooms with their own doors, which makes it a bit of a confusing place to explore. Here we find plenty of super mutants and more centaurs, and lots of randomized loot. Out in one of the hallways we find a snack corner. There's an Etotronic against the wall that has a stim pack inside. We find a Nuka-Cola machine, but there isn't any Nuka-Cola inside because this guy over in the corner must have drank it all. He's dead, but all these bottles are empty. At least he went out doing what he loved. After navigating our way out of the hotel room maze, we can go down the western hallway until we find a stairway leading up. And it's here in this stairway where we find Theo's body. Right next to him is a dead super mutant. At least he killed this guy before he went out. If we access this place before we get the code from Reilly, we find the ammunition container she talked about, but we can't open it because we don't have the code. However, we can loot Theo's body, but he doesn't have anything on his corpse. But once we get the code from Reilly, we can open the ammo cache, and it is quite a cache indeed. 100 rounds of 10mm, 200 rounds of 5.56mm, 200 rounds of 5mm, and 4 fragmentation grenades. We can keep this for ourselves, or if we are feeling generous, once we find Reilly's Rangers, we can hand it back to them. Continuing along, we go up the stairs to the next floor, but we have to be careful because at the very top is another tripwire. Opening the door on this floor leads us to another maze of ruined hotel rooms. We find plenty of super mutants, some dead, some still alive, centaurs, pre-war skeletons, in dramatic and compromising poses. But we find our way out of the maze by heading to the easternmost corner of this floor. There we find the stairwell. The downstairs is completely blocked, but we can continue on upstairs. At the top we find a door with a centaur right on the other side. This is yet another maze of ruined hotel rooms, but there is something unique and interesting here. If we open the first door to the right against the northern wall, we navigate through this ruined room, through a broken wall to the adjacent room where we find a skeleton on a bed clutching a holotape. This holotape is a note from Little Moonbeam's father.
My dearest Little Moonbeam, I know you've been waiting to hear what happened to me. I'm sorry I left you like I did. An important deal came up. One that might have let us get away from the shack we were living in. I came to the Statesmen Hotel to meet the buyer, and the deal went bad. We shot each other, and now I think I'm dying. I won't make it out of this place. The ruins are crawling with super mutants. All I can do is record this and then hide up in one of the rooms. You're a strong girl, and I know you can use everything I taught you to survive alone. Please forgive me, sweetie. I only wanted to make the best for us. Daddy loves you very much. Goodbye.
We discovered who Little Moonbeam was in my video called Stealing Independence, where we visited the National Archives to retrieve the Declaration of Independence. There we found a mercenary named Sydney. She is this man's daughter, and if we give this holotape to her, she rewards us well. You can watch the full telling of that story by clicking here. After exploring all of the ruined rooms on this floor, at the end of the hallway going north, we can turn west to disarm a tripwire, pass through some double doors to find an elevator that goes to the Statesman Hotel restaurant. To access this elevator, we need to repair it. We'll do that in a minute, but let's first finish exploring this floor. To do so, we go through the double doors at the end of this hallway and round a corner to get rid of a super mutant. We have two choices to go up. We can open a door to the stairwell at the end of this hallway to take the stairs up, or we can go through a ruined nearby room. Here the floor has collapsed to such an extent that we can leap on up some broken furniture to get to the next level. This leads to a stairwell that takes us all the way back up, where we can kill some more super mutants. Following this hallway to the very end, we arrive at another stairwell. This is the one we would have arrived at had we taken the stairs on the floor below. And once we reach it, super mutants round the corner. We then follow this stairway all the way up, multiple floors, until we find a tripwire which we can deactivate, connected to a fragmentation bouquet, which we can also deactivate. This leads us to a door to the Statesmen Hotel restaurant. But let's say that instead of continuing onward, we took that elevator that we saw previously. Well, going back, in order to use the elevator, we have to repair it. If our repair skill is high enough, we repair the elevator and we take it right up to the restaurant. The entrance to the restaurant is to the left. Let's clear the floor first by instead turning right and going down a long hallway. Here we kill super mutants and centaurs, and at the very end, we can disable a pressure plate next to a Nuka-Cola machine and an Etotronic, disarm a grenade bouquet, and at the end we find the door to the lower level of the hotel where we would have come out of had we not taken the elevator. So you see that we have two ways to reach this floor. Repairing the elevator just saves us some time and skips a bit of the hotel. Now, we need to explore the restaurant. So turning around, we can go back towards the restaurant where we learned that it was called the Alfresco Lounge. Heading through, we see quite a ruin. This entire floor of the restaurant is collapsing into the floor below, and we find a lot of super mutants. Going down the rubble to the floor below, we pass through a hallway which leads to another completely ruined room. After fighting the super mutant here, we can climb up a rubble ramp to the floor above, which leads to the hotel kitchen. Through the door to the kitchen, we find two doors. They both lead to the same room of the restaurant, and this is where we find the bulk of the restaurant's super mutants. We find super mutants on the floor and super mutants on the level above. After clearing them, we can turn left to explore underneath the stairs. Here we find a utility room with a destroyed maintenance protectron. On the protectron, we find one fission battery. Now this is easy to overlook, but we need to loot this and bring it with us, or else we're gonna have to come back for it later. And we need to make sure not to drop this from our inventory. Heading towards the main bar, we find a whole lot of goodies. We find a bunch of whiskey and ammunition containers, fragmentation grenades, shotgun shells, a sawed-off shotgun, and a copy of Grognak the Barbarian. We even find a Nuka-Cola Quantum. This bar has one really unique feature. Against the wall, we find a neon red Nuka-Cola sign. I have not yet seen this elsewhere in the game. There are two stairways that lead up to the balcony, neither of which have very good loot, but only one of which leads out. After looting the corpses, we can open a door to the north and up some stairs, bringing us to the roof of the Statesmen Hotel. Once outside, we hear the sounds of a battle waging. Walking along the rooftop, we see that it is strewn with super mutant corpses and body parts. As we run along, we see bodies and body parts fly from overhead. Going around a big concrete structure, we go up a stairway, dodge a super mutant corpse, where we find Reilly's Rangers in defensive positions behind cement barricades near the rooftop fountain. As we get closer, Butcher addresses us.
Hey you, get your ass over here before you attract every super mutant in the building.
As we walk closer, he runs out to greet us.
The name's Butcher. I'm the team medic. It's good to see a friendly face. Okay now, who the heck are you and when are reinforcements coming?
Reinforcements? I'm afraid this is it.
You made it all the way up here alive. Okay, I'm impressed. Reilly must have sent the right person for the job, as usual.
Well, goodness, looks like you got yourselves into quite a mess. Nice work, buddy.
Tough guy routine, eh? I don't give a shit what you think about us. I just want to get the hell out of here.
So you're a medic, huh? Can you patch me up?
Sorry, no can do. I used the last of my supplies on us when we got to the roof. I can still put a bullet through a super mutant skull, though.
All right, hey, I've got no time for chatter. I'm here to get you guys out.
Hang on there. First, I need to know if Reilly is okay. I assume she made it somewhere if you're here.
Things are about to get crazy when these super mutants regroup, and you're busy asking questions?
Look, Reilly once told me all we got in this shitty world is each other. I buy into that theory quite a bit. We watch each other's backs, and that's what keeps us alive. If she's dead and you just followed our transmission, I want to know about it.
Well, who put you in charge, Butcher?
Reilly did. I'm the second in command of the Rangers. Now, can you just answer the question?
Look, we'll chat about stuff later. We have to get out of here right now.
Listen, I don't care who you are. I don't even know why Reilly sent you. One thing I do know is that you're beginning to piss me off. Now stop being an asshole and work with me, will you?
Look, let's get out of here, and I promise I'll take you right to her.
All right, I'm sorry. We're just very close. If something's happened to her, I don't know what I'll do.
Oh, sounds like he really does care about her. Don't worry, Butcher, she's fine. They patched her up, and she's resting in the underworld.
That's a relief. I told her she was nuts when she decided to try to sneak out of here. Guess I was wrong. Now, let's talk about getting out of here. I would have proposed going back the way you came, but apparently it's impossible now. So, the express elevator is our only solution.
Wait a minute. I just cleared the whole hotel. Going back is totally an option. There are no super mutants left in either the hospital or the hotel, so look, I think I need to call the shots from here on out.
You can call anything you like, but the other Rangers will only follow me. So let me know what you want to do, and then I'll decide if we're going to do it.
Oh, okay. You don't want to go back, fine, but are there any other ways off this roof?
Well, I can think of a faster way, but I doubt you'd survive the fall.
Well, when I passed the elevator on the way to talk to you, it looked like it didn't work.
You're right. What we need is something to power the elevator motor up here and get the thing going. On the way up here, I'm pretty certain we passed a maintenance room. Inside was a wrecked Protectron. If you can get me its fission battery, I can have Donovan jury-rig the elevator.
Oh man, a fission battery, really? Well, why don't you come with me, Butcher?
We have to hold this position at all costs. If you don't make it back, I can't afford to lose the elevator or we're never getting down. I can't allow that to happen. Nothing personal. If any of us goes down, don't stop. Get the hell out of here and make for our HQ Ranger compound.
Let me take a look at it. Maybe I can fix the elevator.
Maybe you can, but we'd still need the fission battery. It's the only way to locally feed power into the elevator's electronics.
All right, I'll go back and look for the fission battery.
All right, we'll hold the roof position here.
Once we have the fission battery, we can go back to Butcher.
Back so soon? Are we in luck?
Hey, tell me more about Reilly's Rangers.
We're mercs, but instead of hunt and destroy, we map the ruins for sale to the highest bidder, and make a good living at it too. There were 5 of us in the company until we lost Theo.
How have you guys survived up here?
I'd say it was a whole lot of luck. We set as many traps as we could behind us and killed as many super mutants as possible. Being able to fend off the last wave of them made the rest more cautious, but it also drained our ammo. It's only a matter of time before they rally, especially since you punched through their lines.
Hey, I found that stash of ammo on Theo's body. You should have some.
Oh, that makes me feel a whole lot better. Thanks.
What can you tell me about Vernon Square?
There's something about this area. I can't put my finger on it, but just like the mall, there's an unusually high concentration of super mutants. If I had the time and resources, I'd investigate. All I care about now is getting the hell off this damn roof.
All right, Butcher, I've got your fission battery.
Fantastic. Get that over to Donovan right away. As soon as he gets it up and running, make a break for it. Remember, our rally point is our HQ, Ranger Compound. Don't stop for anything.
Now, I don't know why we can't just go back the way we came. You saw me kill every super mutant and centaur, but for some reason, the elevator is the only way out, so we'll go fix it, but before we do, we can talk to the other members of Reilly's Rangers. To the left, we find a woman named Brick.
Well. We got us a genuine rescue, eh? Brick's the name, and I call this fine-looking room sweeper Eugene. We've had a lot of fun together mowing down super mutants. But I think it's time we get off this roof.
What can you tell me about Vernon Square, Brick?
The other guys hate mapping this zone, but hey, I love it. I love turning the muties into a fine red mist with my gun.
How have you guys survived up here?
Skill, baby. Pure skill. And my big-ass gun.
Hey, let me help you out. I brought you some ammo.
Oh, hell yeah!
Hey, I've got that fission battery to fix the elevator.
Well, what the fuck you bringing it to me for? Give it to Donovan. Sheesh.
Well, okay, Brick. Turning around, we see Donovan trying to tinker with that elevator.
Hey there. Donovan at your service. You break it, I fix it.
What can you tell me about Vernon Square?
All I can tell you is this place sucks. I hope we never have to map another inch of it.
How did you guys survive up here?
By the seat of our pants. We are out of everything. Ammo, food, and time. I have no idea how we made it this long, but damn, I am glad you got up here.
Hey, don't worry, Donovan. I brought you some ammunition.
Thanks. I was starting to feel a little naked without it.
And here is that fission battery you need.
Let me have that thing. Give me a few minutes, and I'll have the elevator up and running. As soon as I get it online, we'll get out of here.
With that, Donovan fixes the elevator, and the Rangers leave. Heading through the elevator to join them, we arrive at the lobby of the hotel. As soon as we go through the door, we get attacked by super mutants wielding miniguns. Now, it is possible for the Rangers to die during this battle, but it's incredibly important that we make sure each of these Rangers survives. If any of them die, then Reilly won't give us any of her side quests. That said, 2 of these Rangers have unique items. Brick has Eugene, and Donovan has a full suit of unique Ranger combat armor. One way to get both items is to let them all die here and loot them off their bodies. Once the mutants are dead, the Rangers go out the main door. This leads us outside the main entrance to the Statesmen Hotel, but we don't see any of the Rangers out here. They must have hightailed it to the Ranger compound. That's where we need to meet them. But before we do, let's go back into the lobby and see if we can find any more lore and loot. Heading behind the counter, we can loot a first aid kit on the wall and then unlock an advanced locked terminal. We can use this terminal to unlock the desk safe and then read the guest complaint files. The first complaint is a minor complaint from Harold Worthington III. We recognize that name. Here we read about the same incident we read about at the hospital. Again, this guy claimed that the ice machine was leaking water and he slipped on it. But he did so after, quote, spending the night up in the Alfresco, unquote, which I believe is a euphemism for being plastered drunk. He demanded restitution in the form of free room service and some more pillows. More pillows? What is with this guy and all the pillows? The front desk clerk ends by saying that he was abrasive and abusive. The second complaint is a major complaint about Seneca Clarkson. We remember Seneca Clarkson's name. She was the woman whom Tom Malone brought to his room, where he suffered that muscle injury to his groin. The hotel staff found her dead in room 302 in the bed in a state of undress. She had been suffocated by a plastic bag placed over her head, but she couldn't take the bag from off of her head because her hands were handcuffed to the bedposts. The man who reported the incident, who is unnamed here, but presumably was Tom Malone, was taken into custody but kept on saying that it was only a bit of fun. The staff here at the hotel are upset because Miss Clarkson was a highly valued escort for the facility. She perished in the line of duty. I hate to say it, but I'm guessing this was some sort of bondage role-playing that Tom was having with this escort. He pulled a muscle while romping with her, but accidentally suffocated her to death with a plastic bag. The police then admitted him to the hospital to get treatment, or it could have been someone else. Maybe this was an incident that happened with another man while Tom was in the hospital. The next incident involved guest Wanda Kellendine. Wanda complained of a burning cooking smell coming from her room 202. They sent someone to go investigate and discovered that Wanda's electric blanket was malfunctioning and was burning her legs. That was the smell she was smelling. When they asked her why she didn't feel any pain, she replied by saying, "Honey, I've been married for 40 years and I raised 8 kids. What's pain compared to that?" Also, they found a myriad of empty pill bottles in her room. She was so drugged out of her mind she didn't even realize that her flesh was cooking. The final incident report is again about everyone's favorite pillow lover, Harold Worthington III. This time, he claims that the carpeting leading to the Alfresco Lounge was coming up, which caused him to trip and fall down. He was making his way back to his room after, quote, a whole night up in the Alfresco Lounge, end quote, and had the accident. He is again demanding restitution in the form of free room service and even more of those pillows. The staff ended up counting them up, and they believe that over the past 10 months, this guy has taken 23 pillows from the hotel. That's a total of 31 if we include the pillows that he took from the hospital. And that's it. Those are all of the terminal entries. We don't get any answer as to why this guy was so preoccupied with pillows. Heading out into the lobby to continue exploring, we find a hallway behind the stairwell. This brings us to a Nuka-Cola machine, an Etotronic, and another hallway where we find a room with first aid kits and some containers to loot. That's it for the ground floor. Heading upstairs, we find a hotel room, and on one of the desks, a copy of Tales of a Junktown Jerky Vendor. In the bathroom, we find a skeleton in the tub right next to an assault rifle, and 2 ammunition containers by the sink with an assortment of chems and ammunition on the shelf above. In the snack room, we find another Etotronic. This one has a Mentats, and that's about it. So, we need to leave the hotel and find our way to the Reilly's Ranger compound to receive our reward. Now again, there's no easy way to walk there. We have to navigate through a series of underground tunnels to find the place. But I want to track down Reilly, so what we're going to do is we're going to fast travel to Metro Central. That's the closest metro station that would bring us to that section of DC. After killing the super mutants that attack at Metro Central, instead of going into the metro, we can walk east. Here we find a Pulowski preservation shelter with a destroyed Protectron inside and an ammunition case. And then continuing east, we can turn right to go south to the Penn Avenue Seward Square metro station. To navigate through, we have to go into the bathrooms. Through a broken wall in the bathroom, we find a utility tunnel that brings us into a maintenance wing swarming with feral ghouls. After destroying the feral ghouls, we exit the maintenance wing into the Seward Square station. Following the station all the way to the gate, we can exit to Seward Square. Following the map marker east from the station brings us into a huge plaza area swarming with super mutants and centaurs. After clearing the area and continuing east, we begin to hear a voice over a loudspeaker.
A great crack shall open in the earth and swallow the non-believers, and they shall weep, 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 tears and salt and earth and dirt. Fire, fire, burning bright, burning fire, pain, misery, peace, love, murder, death, 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 death. Beware, worm, I shall destroy you with the fire of the small sun before me. Beware, worm. One step further. The sun, it burns. Why does it burn? Why have we put the sun into a jar? What did we do with that jar? We broke it all over our little world. You don't know, you can't know, little fools. You wish you knew, you wish, but only I know, only me, only me, only me. And the sun will rise in the north. No, the northwest, for 44 days and 67 nights, and we'll never notice. Oh, God, it hurts. My head. Why doesn't it ever stop hurting? Why? Please, I can hear it.
Cut it out.
Pulsing. Just leave me alone.
Creeping forward, we hear this voice coming from an alley with a lot of glowing fungus in it. Calling through the alley, we see a man standing in a broken building with his arms raised. This is the crazed preacher. He's the one shouting over the PA system. If at any moment he sees us, he detonates the explosives in this alley. And it's instant death. This is a scripted encounter. Even if we loot all of these mines and mini-nukes, if at any point he sees us and we get too close, he kills us. Just outside the alley, we find a wastelander.
Make him shut up, please. Just make him shut up.
What's that guy's problem?
He's been up there for days. He's got all of those mines wired to a trigger. He won't let anyone in or out of the alley. If I try to leave, he'll set them off. But I can't stay here any longer.
Why don't you just go over and see what he's yelling about?
No. No way. He'll set the bombs off if I go anywhere near him.
We can pass a charisma check to say, oh, come on. He'll listen to reason. Go talk to him.
Oh. Well, you look like someone who's pretty smart. So if you say so, I'll give it a try. Okay. Here I go.
In which case he runs to his death. But at least the explosion clears all of the explosives and kills the preacher. If instead we don't want to kill this guy, we can creep close ourselves and snipe at him from a distance.
I hope you know what you're doing.
Good riddance.
It's so quiet.
Once he's dead, we can then go through and loot all of the mini-nukes and fragmentation mines. This is a great way to walk away with 4 or 5 mini-nukes. Strangely enough, after killing the preacher, the Wastelander stays here. He doesn't actually leave. Now that we've dealt with the preacher, we can continue on to the Reilly's Rangers headquarters. To find it, we head towards a big concrete building to the east. We see a Reilly's Rangers logo spray painted to the wall right next to some sandbag barricades. 2 sabers crossed on top of a 4-leaf clover. We head down the alley and turn a corner to go down a longer alley where we see a big statue of a man with a wheel. Painted on this statue is another Reilly's Rangers logo, and turning left, we find the entrance to the Reilly's Rangers compound. Before going through the door, we can climb up to loot the ruins above. We find a few containers filled with loot, and at the very top, 2 ammo canisters and 2 first aid canisters. And once they are looted, we can head back down to activate the Ranger compound outer terminal. Once activated, we can unlock the security door if we have the key, and then enter the compound. Heading down the stairs, we bump right into Reilly.
You look like you've been through hell.
Oh no, I'm the one who looks awful. I see how you did that. But are you kidding me? Hell would have been a damned picnic compared to what we just went through.
All right. No need to get your underpants in a knot.
I'm just saying, it was a tough run.
I bet it was. Frankly, I'm amazed you made it.
Nah, all in a day's work.
You're a cocky little thing, aren't you? I like that. Well, as much as I want to hear all about it, can you tell me a full debrief on what happened out there with my men?
And before we talk about that, do you have my reward?
Wow, you sound like one of the guys from Talon Company. Ruthless bastard, aren't you? You can act badass all day. Doesn't faze me. You're chicken shit compared to some of the guys I've dealt with. To answer your question, yeah, I got your damn reward. Now how about that debrief?
Give me the reward first, then we'll talk.
No way, pal. No fucking way. I do things by the book. My book. It may seem stupid to you, but it's all we got. So when I ask for a debrief, I want a goddamn debrief.
All right, well, it went extremely well. As you can see, we didn't lose a single person.
I'm very impressed at your skill. I don't think I've come across someone quite like you in the ruins. I suppose I owe you a debt, and I intend to pay it in kind. I'm sure you're more interested in your reward than listening to me talk, so let me get right to it.
Yeah, please. I have a lot to do.
Okay, but at least let me thank you for all you've done. You could have been killed trying to save my men.
No, please continue. Your men are more important than my reward.
Losing a bit of the merc edge, eh? Don't get soft on me now. Well, I've said it once, but I'll say it again. You have my thanks. I'd be pretty lost without my guys.
Hey, enough of this. I'm just interested in my reward.
Now you sound like a merc. Well, let's cut the bullshit and get right to it then. So for your reward, what'll it be? The Ranger battle armor or one of Brick's miniguns?
I don't know. Do you got anything else?
Sorry. We need every piece of equipment we've got. I can spare the gun and the armor, but that's about it.
I'll show you both options. Let's start by going with the armor.
The armor it is. Wear it with pride, kid. We do. Consider this place your home away from home. If you're ever in the neighborhood again, you're more than welcome to take shelter here. I guess that does it. See you around, kid.
This armor is the strongest armor in the game outside of power armor. It's great for characters who value agility greater than strength, as it doesn't come with any agility penalties. The suit grants +5 to AP, +1 to luck, and +10 to small guns. When fully repaired, it has a DR of 39 with a 27 weight, and the helmet has a DR of 6 with a weight of 5. If all 3 of the Rangers die during the rescue, then Reilly won't give us this armor. Alternatively, we can choose the minigun.
You got it. Use it well, and take down some more muties with it for us.
She gives us Eugene. That's right, the very same Eugene that Brick has been raving about ever since we met her. Eugene is one of the best miniguns in the game. When fully repaired, it does almost as much damage as a fully repaired Gatling laser. It has 7 damage, which is 3 more than a minigun, bringing the DPS up to 140. Plus, it has 50% greater durability than standard miniguns. Since this character of mine is going to be a power armor character, I don't really have a need for the combat armor, so in my game, I chose Eugene. Once we select our reward, we complete the quest Reilly's Rangers, and we can chat with Reilly and her Rangers a little bit more. So Reilly, what's been happening since you've been back?
I don't know. I'm not sure I'm cut out for this kind of job anymore. I almost got everyone killed in Vernon Square. What kind of a responsible leader does that? It was one bad decision after another.
Hey man, that's the way of the world. Better get used to it.
Well, a lot of shit happened, all because of me.
Look, it is what it is. We all make mistakes, Reilly. You're not a fortune teller.
Yeah, but I led the guys right into a corner. Theo died because I decided to take shelter in the hospital. I'm not so sure I'd be trusted leading anyone at this point.
Theo died because he was careless.
He wasn't careless. I was the one who was careless. Doesn't matter why. Either way, he's gone.
Theo's death, it was just bad luck. There's tremendous risk in what you do, and Theo knew that.
Thanks. It's nice of you to try and make me feel better about everything. I just hope that I can get back to mapping the ruins soon. I have a lot of contacts that are demanding I finish.
Oh yeah? Well, I think you're on your own with that. I hope it all works out.
Yeah, on my own as usual. Look, why don't you come back later? I don't need pity right now.
Hey, why don't you let me help you? You stay here, and I'll do some of the mapping for you.
You'd risk your neck for me like that?
No, I was just messing with you.
You are such an asshole.
I kid. Sure, why not? You look like you need the help.
Well, okay. I hadn't expected this, but I'll certainly take you up on it.
But you do have to pay me. I'm not going to do this for free.
Don't worry, I'll compensate you for your time. For every map marker you uncover in the Capital Wasteland, I'll pay you a fair sum in bottle caps. All you have to do is find them, come back here, and I'll get them off your Pip-Boy there.
On second thought, I think I'll pass.
Oh, okay. Guess I'll see you around then.
On third thought, it's a done deal. I'll locate as many locations as I possibly can for you, as long as you keep the caps flowing.
Here, take this geomapper. Please don't lose it. Donovan spent a year developing it, and I only have a few. It will offload all the map data you collect from your Pip-Boy automatically. When you come back, I can take the data from it, and you get paid.
Hey, since you're a mercenary, maybe you can tell me a little bit more about the Talent Company. They keep popping out of nowhere attacking me.
Let me give you a word of advice. Stay away from them. They give mercs a bad name. They have no morals, no remorse, and wouldn't hesitate to put a bullet through a defenseless man's head if it meant a job. They've been pretty active lately around the old Capitol building ruins. I'd recommend giving that area a wide berth.
Have you had run-ins with them?
Yeah, we've crossed paths. Fortunately, we just stepped out of each other's way. Brick almost turned it into a damn bloodbath when one of them spit on her boots, but I was able to hold her back.
Well, you're mercenaries too. Wouldn't you kill if that was part of your contract?
Look, those fucks went into a settlement a year or two ago and killed everyone. Women, children, everyone. That's the sort of crap Talent Company does. All they care about is getting paid. Reilly's Rangers operate on a set of morals. We're here to help people, not as professional assassins.
Talent Company. Sounds like my kind of people.
If that's your kind of people, then you really need to take a long look at yourself and decide just what the hell is wrong with you.
After chatting with Reilly, we can talk with Donovan.
You saved my ass back there. I won't forget it. Uh-oh, you're back. Something need fixing?
Hey, what's been going on around here since you've been back?
Oh, wow, well, Reilly snapped out of a slump now that you're mapping for the Rangers. Now we go out and kick ass like the old days. Hoorah!
Hey, my equipment has seen some better days.
I think we can do something about that.
But Donovan only has a repair skill of 11. This is supposed to be the guy that fixed the express elevator on the Statesmen Hotel, and his repair skill is only 11? Moira Brown's is better than this. What a complete waste. We can then go chat with Butcher.
You made it. Great. Need patching up?
What's been happening since you guys have been back?
Things seem better now. Riley's gained back her confidence a bit. We've been doing stuff here and there. I don't know what you said to her, but thanks.
We can also ask him to heal us up.
Yeah, you look like you need some work.
And he works as a doctor for free. Heading on into this room, we find Reilly's terminal. The first item is the current personnel listing. There's no entry on Reilly, strangely enough. The file is unavailable. So we start with Brick. Brick is a 24-year-old woman who loves her heavy weapons. Reilly considers her to be an outstanding member of the team whose zeal for destruction is more of an asset than a liability. She's calm and reliable under fire, though she does get impatient during the planning stages of a mission. She's also loyal to the Rangers and would make a great go-to person in case there was a falling out in the ranks. Next is Butcher. He's the 31-year-old medic. Reilly considers him to be a very important part of the team. He makes rational and logical decisions even in the heat of battle, which is why she made him second in command. His medical skills are okay. She says there's room for improvement, but he's dedicated to learning more. He scours every hospital and clinic they happen upon to learn more about his trade. Like Brick, he's also extremely loyal to the Rangers. Next is Donovan. He's 35 years old and is into tech. She hired him because he came highly recommended from the Brotherhood of Steel. Looks like the Rangers work closely with the Brotherhood. Even though we learned he only has 11 in repair, Reilly describes him here as an absolute wizard in regards to repair of firearms and personal armor. Yeah, I don't think so. He needs to learn more about electrical systems and hydraulics, which she says would help as they scour the ruins. She thinks his loyalty to the Ranger is solid, though she admits that she needs some more time to observe. Last on the list is Theo. We learned that he was the quartermaster and he was only 22 years old. Theo was the newest member who cared for and carried all of their equipment. Since he was so new, he was on a probationary contract. She was likely going to be making her decision about whether or not to keep him after this mission. After the personnel listing, we see their current contracts. They have two big ones. The first we already know about, the mapping contract. To date, they've already acquired 1,765 caps from working on this mission, and the details of the contract are what we've already learned. They're to map the terrain and structures of the DC urban area. The buyer, however, is anonymous. He wants notes of pockets of enemy resistance, weapon caches, strategic positions, and retreat points. The buyer pays for this information, with caps left in predetermined spots known only to Reilly. The next contract is equally mysterious. This is Super Mutant Cleansing. So far doing this contract, they've earned 2,850 caps. The goal of this contract is simply to eradicate the super mutants in the DC area. The buyer pays the Rangers on a per-kill basis, and Reilly proves her kills by collecting and showing off body parts as proof. The next section is Reilly's personal notes. We find 4 entries here. The first one is about how frequently Brick and Donovan argue. Reilly is constantly having to break up fights between the two of them. Thankfully, so far they've been arguing only when they're not on a mission, so Reilly thinks maybe she shouldn't care so much, but she just really wants this group to stick together. We also learned that it had only been a month since they lost 2 of their previous members, Dallas and Kira. One of the reasons they took Theo on board is because she lost those 2, and she admits that Theo is hardly a replacement. He's too green. She was hoping that with a little bit more super mutant blood on his boots, he'd wise up real fast, but as we know, that didn't happen. In the next one, we learn the name of her mysterious contact for the mapping project, Mr. Smith. She likes this job because it's a lot easier than hunting down super mutants, the other job she is working on, and then she describes a run-in with the Talon Company. They try to steer clear of each other, but one day when they had a run-in with Talon Company, Brick was with them. She says, needless to say, it wasn't long before I heard Eugene's familiar whine and she started dropping them like flies. Thankfully, they got out of there without any casualties, but after that event, they're going to be giving the Capitol building a wide berth. In the next entry, we learn that she slept with Butcher, and at last it makes sense. Remember on the roof, he had that one brief moment where he revealed how genuinely concerned he was about Reilly. He's always been kind of flirty with her. She just chalked it up to typical Merc humor, but she was wrong. One thing led to another, and they ended up sleeping together. She's hoping that it doesn't jeopardize their professional relationship, but so far it hasn't, and she doesn't want it to stop. She says, it's been a while since I've been with anyone, and it's nice to know someone out there cares about me. She wrote this entry while she and the Rangers were finishing up mapping the Tacoma Park area of the downtown ruins. The going is tough and slow, however, due to pockets of Talon Company and super mutant resistance. If it weren't for them, they'd be done by now. In the final note, we learn that the entire reason Reilly took the crew to Vernon Square to begin with is because Theo had been itching to go out on a mapping trip. Butcher was eager to go to the hospital, which makes sense, of course, because he's the medic of the crew, and Reilly was eager to set up a transmitter at the top of the Statesmen Hotel, which would probably really help with her mapping activities. And Brick and Donovan were arguing again. She decided to take the crew out as fast as possible to focus them on fighting the super mutants instead of each other. If we try to talk with Butcher, we don't find any more options to talk about his relationship with Reilly, and Reilly doesn't talk about it either. Finally, there's Brick.
Back from splattering more muties?
What's been happening since you've been back, Brick?
Now that you're part of the team, Reilly's her old self again. We've been vaporizing hostiles like there's no tomorrow.
Hey, has anyone ever spoken to you about anger management? I think you're certifiably insane.
Last guy who said something like that to me took a long dirt nap. Catch my drift? Oh, I loved watching you sweat there for a second. Damn right I'm crazy. Isn't that right, Eugene? Anyway, you look me up if you ever want to get into a fight. I'll be sure and bring the thunder.
And just as Reilly said, we can use this compound as a personal player home. We find a bed we can sleep in, and we can use any of these containers. And the Rangers don't get angry if we loot anything. Hey Reilly, how you feeling?
Well, I've been feeling a little more confident now that I have you mapping for us. I think we'll head out into the ruins and do some search and destroy to ease back into things.
Now that we have the geomapping quest, we can turn in any locations we've discovered so far.
Excellent. Let me offload the data and I'll be glad to pay you.
The quest is quite lucrative. I walked away with over 2,000 caps. And that is the full story of Reilly's Rangers, an elaborate quest that brings us to many different locations. And it seems to me, based on the comments I've read on many of my videos, that Reilly's Rangers have a special place in the hearts of Fallout 3 players. And I can see why. The quest is fun, the characters are sympathetic, and even though the Rangers are a mercenary group, they appear to be mercenaries with morals. But what about you? Did you discover Reilly's Rangers when you played the game? Did you ever do a playthrough where you played as a ranger, wearing the combat armor, going on mapping missions for the Rangers, and living out of the Ranger compound? Which reward did you choose? The minigun Eugene or the unique Ranger combat armor? Let me know in the comments section below. I publish a new Fallout video 6 days a week, so if you want to make sure you don't miss my next video, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. I take Sundays off, so I'm not going to have a video for you on Monday, but we'll be right back in the swing of things Tuesday morning. Thank you all so very much for watching. It really means a lot. If you like what I do here on my channel and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video. Again, thank you so much, and I'll see you bright and early Tuesday morning with a brand new video.
That takes care of that.